DEA, FBI, and ICE just stormed a drug cartel in San Antonio. And guess what? One of the city's own sheriffs was running the show.
And while in the past, courthouses were off limits to ICE agents, that's not the case anymore. The
so-called protector of the people turned out to be guarding the cartel's cash instead. Turns out the badge wasn't shining from honor, it was just reflecting dirty money.
And in Dallas, and now ICE is making arrests in the San Antonio.
Yesterday morning in San Antonio began with one of the most intense federal operations in Texas history. At 4:30 a.m., multiple task forces from the DEA, FBI, and ICE launched coordinated raids across the city and surrounding regions, including Houston and Laredo. The operation had been planned for months and was aimed at dismantling a criminal network tied to narcotics trafficking and internal law enforcement corruption.
Yeah, so what's happening there? The controversial new tactic drew some small protesting yesterday in San Antonio. And then the images. We saw some families frustrated, some in tears, as dozens of people ended up being handcuffed and then loaded into.
Residents awoke to the sound of helicopters and sirens as agents surrounded industrial buildings on the city's south side. Streets were sealed off and communications were restricted. Each unit moved according to a synchronized federal order that began the moment the command execute was issued.
So prosecutors accused the officers of providing escort services to drug traffickers in exchange for bribe.
Within minutes, San Antonio had become the focal point of a statewide anti-corruption mission. Officials later confirmed that the raids were not limited to small-scale traffickers, but targeted an organized system of distribution protected by people inside law enforcement itself.
Military. San Antonio police telling us that they assisted in this operation, but said the DEA is leading the investigation. As of tonight, at this hour, we're still working to learn more about why agents showed up here.
One of the main targets was a luxury casino concealed in an industrial block near the city's outskirts. Federal teams broke through reinforced steel doors after receiving intelligence that it served as both a money laundering hub and a meeting site for cartel intermediaries. Inside, they found millions of dollars in cash stacked in crates, gold bars stored in safes, and large quantities of cocaine and fentanyl pills disguised as prescription medication.
Interesting that we are learning just in the last 24 hours that it was actually sheriffs and their deputies who were helping along drug trafficking.
The location, operating under a front business license, was built to appear legitimate, but was in reality one of the primary centers for laundering drug proceeds through gambling revenue and shell corporations.
Well, it is a scheme right out of Hollywood. You had an undercover FBI agent posing as a member of a Mexican drug cartel, paying bribes to current and former law enforcement agents to provide safe passage.
Among those detained during the raid was Sheriff Miguel Rojas, head of Bezar County's Narcotics Division. According to officials on the scene, Rojas was arrested while still in uniform.
You know, the biggest issues that our society faces, so really shocking to learn that it was actually law enforcement in.
Agents stated that his presence at the casino confirmed long-standing suspicions that elements within local enforcement were directly collaborating with cartel operations. Evidence recovered from computers and encrypted drives inside the premises linked Rojas to several offshore accounts and financial transfers associated with a wider network under investigation.
50 pounds of cocaine and then the illegal proceeds, cash, that they were then paid in bribes back to those law enforcement agents who helped out with this scheme.
After the arrest of Sheriff Miguel Rojas, federal investigators began the forensic review of encrypted hard drives seized from the San Antonio casino raid. Each device was marked with the label Project Eclipse. The drives were transported to the DEA's Cyber Operations Facility in Quantico, where forensic technicians began decryption procedures that lasted 72 hours. Once opened, the contents revealed a sophisticated financial infrastructure connecting organized crime to elements within Texas law enforcement.
Law enforcement, sheriffs, sheriff's deputies, officers have been accused of a number of just a lot of bad behavior. One involving inside a corrections office with an inmate.
The files mapped a structure consisting of 12 shell corporations, 5 illegal casinos, and 31 offshore accounts maintained through commercial banks in San Antonio and Austin. Every company appeared legitimate on paper, with employee rosters and tax filings, but none had operational activity. Businesses listed as Gulf Star Holdings LLC, Pantex Properties, and Ravenmark Entertainment Group were identified as fronts designed to disguise narcotics revenue as corporate earnings.
Happening, the FBI announcing indictments against 20 people, including 14 current and former Mississippi and Tennessee.
The scale of the laundering operation was clear. Financial data showed $100 million in cartel proceeds moving through Texas between January 2023 and December 2024. Each transfer was routed through layered intermediaries in Belize, the Cayman Islands, and Panama, before being cycled back into the United States as consulting or logistics payments.
So prosecutors accuse the officers of providing escort services to drug traffickers in exchange for bribes. So joining us live now is Anna Schechter, head of our crime and policing unit.
Federal auditors cross-referenced the metadata within these transactions and discovered coded digital identifiers belonging to CJNG, the Jalisco New Generation Cartel. This discovery confirmed the organization's operational presence inside U.S. territory. According to the DEA liaison office in Guadalajara, CJNG had shifted strategy 2 years earlier, opting to establish influence networks in American cities rather than continue open territorial violence in Mexico.
The case started, the genesis of the case was people, oftentimes some criminals who, when arrested, they were complaining about having to pay bribes to various individuals. And when
San Antonio, located along the Interstate 35 corridor, was chosen as a logistical hub and designated within cartel communications as a safe zone, insulated from public conflict and ideal for discrete financial expansion. Parallel to the financial review, field intelligence teams reconstructed the cartel's transport pipeline into Texas.
Corruption strikes at the heart of community. It erodes public confidence and undermines the strength of law enforcement integrity.
Surveillance reports traced narcotics shipments originating from Guadalajara and moving through Nuevo Laredo before entering the United States via commercial freight routes in Laredo. Once across the border, shipments were concealed within legitimate logistics carriers registered in Texas.
Indictment and arrest of 20 individuals, most of them law enforcement officers.
3 names appeared repeatedly: Lone Star Freight, Blue Horizon Logistics, and El Toro Distributors. All 3 operated valid Department of Transportation licenses and maintained active trade records, but night tracking data revealed dual manifest schedules. During daytime operations, these carriers delivered produce and packaged goods. After dark, their trucks carried concealed compartments containing cocaine, methamphetamine, and fentanyl.
Talk about involves a conspiracy whereby law enforcement officers and their accomplices are alleged to have agreed to provide safe passage for illegal narcotics.
Internal communications recovered from the Eclipse drives linked these convoys directly to Sheriff Rojas's patrol units. Dispatch logs from Bexar County between 2023 and 2024 showed that Rojas consistently assigned his narcotics division vehicles to the same highway sectors used by the cartel shipments. GPS analysis demonstrated synchronized movement between his patrol units and the freight convoys.
They are also indicted for related firearms offenses and, of course, individual counts related to specific runs throughout the Mississippi Delta.
Federal analysts concluded that Rojas personally ensured these shipments avoided inspection. Camera logs confirmed that surveillance systems were temporarily disabled minutes before each convoy crossed city checkpoints. The sheriff's role, according to the federal affidavit, was to clear routes, suppress surveillance, and guarantee safe passage. His badge effectively served as the cartel's clearance credential.
Indicted in this conspiracy are the following individuals, and when I'm giving you this list of places of employment, a lot of them are still employed, or were up to today, in those places.
The exposure of this network began unexpectedly on March 18, 2025, when a junior financial analyst from ICE, Daniel Herrera, identified a suspicious electronic transfer labeled as a training fund. The amount totaled $3.2 million and originated from an account in Belize registered under Eclipse Enterprises. The funds were directed toward a casino operation in San Antonio, already under DEA observation. Herrera's report was escalated to Washington, where analysts matched the transaction's reference code to one of the identifiers found in the seized Eclipse ledgers. This discovery triggered a full forensic audit of the drives.
By the Metcalf Police Department, and later, during the course of the investigation, the Hollandale Police Department. Milton Gaston, the elected sheriff of Washington County, Mississippi.
Within 2 days, federal cyber teams decrypted audio files, encrypted texts, and payroll spreadsheets listing uniformed officers as recipients of recurring protection payments. Each entry included initials, badge numbers, and transaction timestamps corresponding to cash withdrawals across Bezar County.
With the Humphreys County Sheriff's Department and the Isola Police Department was likewise charged with conspiracy to aid and abet the possession, transportation, and distribution.
Among the evidence was a recorded message attributed to a CJNG intermediary confirming coordination with law enforcement. The message contained the line later cited in the Justice Department's public briefing: "The sheriff clears the road, we clear the rest." This direct admission established that the Eclipse network relied on Rojas's authority to maintain operational security.
I'd remind everybody present that an indictment is just that, it's an allegation. That indictment, those allegations have to be proven in a court of law. Everybody in this country operates under the presumption of innocence, and nothing's changed about that.
Following this confirmation, the Department of Justice authorized Operation Eclipse, Counterstrike, a coordinated federal response executed within 48 hours. At 5 o'clock on the morning of April 2, 2025, more than 700 federal agents, 28 SWAT teams, and 17 Black Hawk helicopters launched simultaneous raids across Texas and Florida.
Corrupt individuals who abuse their office, we will come for you and hold you accountable.
In Miami, agents discovered a mansion functioning as a financial storage facility where millions of dollars were hidden beneath marble flooring. In Tampa, investigators uncovered a warehouse owned by Sunshine Freight Logistics that contained several tons of methamphetamine packed for transport. In San Antonio, federal agents faced armed resistance when private contractors hired by Rojas attempted to hold the casino compound. The confrontation lasted 9 minutes and resulted in 4 fatalities and 9 arrests.
To announce multi-year investigation that exemplifies the FBI's dedication to restoring the public's trust. As alleged in the indictments, this investigation began after FBI Jackson received information on allegations of systemic law enforcement corruption that crossed multiple counties in the
combined operations produced the largest seizure of narcotics and illicit assets recorded in a single week that year. Officials confirmed the confiscation of 2.7 tons of methamphetamine, cocaine, and fentanyl, 133 firearms, and $9.4 million in cash and gold. The following morning, major outlets across Texas and national networks published the headline, "Sands. Antonio stands still as its sheriff falls."
officers provided protection to those whom they believed were drug traffickers in exchange for bribe payments. Each of the law enforcement officers arrested had taken an oath to protect and serve their respective communities, an oath that they violated.
The investigation that followed extended beyond the original scope. As forensic specialists processed the remaining Eclipse data, they uncovered a spreadsheet linking additional personnel to the network. The files identified 14 police officers, 4 border inspectors, and 2 ICE agents connected to Eclipse-coded transactions between 2015 and 2024. Each received small, incremental payments disguised as training stipends, campaign contributions, or departmental bonuses.
That, hey, Clay Joyner, I bribed him, he took money. I fully expect the FBI to investigate the heck out of me if they find that accusation to be credible, as they would with anybody. Would be the shortest way for me to answer that.
These findings led to the creation of Project Sentinel, a Texas-based federal task force assigned to investigate corruption inside law enforcement agencies. Audit summaries indicated that by 2022, CJNG's infiltration strategy had achieved full integration within public institutions. Instead of manipulating individual officers through bribery, the organization had constructed a parallel chain of loyalty within legitimate departments. The federal affidavit filed in the Western District of Texas on April 14, 2025, summarized the outcome succinctly. The cartel no longer infiltrated the system from outside. It built one within it.